Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to talk about a very important data structure in C++, which is the map. So a map is a generalized array that consists of key value pairs. So instead of accessing elements by index, so by the position in which they are at in the array, basically what you're going to do is you're going to access each value in a map by accessing the key that the value is mapped to. Okay, so let me show you how this works. First thing is to import the map. So let's include the map in our program. Now to create a map, I'm going to write map and then these arrows. In here, I'm going to put the data types of my keys and my values. So all the keys are going to be the same data type. All the values are going to be the same data type. So I want my keys to be strings and I want my values to be integers. Now I just need to name my map. So my map is going to be named M. How do I put elements inside of this map? So there are a couple ways you can do that. The first thing is you can just write curly braces like this, and then each key value pair is going to be inside of another set of curly braces in which the first element is going to be a key of the data type string, and the second element is going to be a value to which the key is mapped to, which is going to be of data type integer. So for example, let's imagine that I have a map which has names mapped to ages. So first I'm going to write, for example, Mike, he's going to be 22. And then, for example, Maria is going to be 24. So now I have a map called M in which there are two elements. So we have a key Mike that's mapped to the value 22, and we have the key Maria, which is mapped to the value 24. Now, how do I access these values? So I can do so very easily just by saying cout m, and then these, what is this called, square brackets, as if I was going to access a certain index in an array, but instead of putting an index, I'm going to put a key. So for example, the key Mike is going to give me the value 22. So if I run this code, this is going to give me 22. If instead of Mike, I put Maria in here, then this is going to give me 24. So this is the value that's mapped to the key Maria. Now, another way to populate a map, another way to put elements in a map is simply saying M, which is the name of my map, and then these square brackets, and I'm going to add a new key, for example, Matt, and this is going to equal 23, right? Now, if I say cout M at the key Matt, and I run this code, this is going to give me 23. Okay, so now I have a map with three elements. Two of them were added up here, one of them was added here, okay? Now, how do you iterate through a map? So instead of outputting each key individually like I'm doing here, I'm going to go over the whole map and I'm going to output each key and each value of the map. So you can do this really simply with a for each loop. So I can say for auto u in M, I want to do a certain operation. So basically what this means is for each element u in the map M, I want to, well, do some kind of operation. Now keep in mind that a map is made up of key value pairs, right? So each element, each position in the map is going to be occupied by a pair. Now, what does this mean? This means that you can access elements in a map the way you would access a normal pair. So you can use the first method and the second method. So you can say cout u.first, and this is going to access the first element of each pair. And that in this case, it would be the key. And then let's just put a colon here, and then u.second. So the second element of the pair is going to be the value that key is mapped to. And then let's just put a \n. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to go over each element of the map, and it's going to cout the first element of that, well, the first sub-element of that element, which is going to be the key, and then a colon, and then the second sub-element of that element, which is going to be the value. So this is going to give me basically a little list of all of the keys mapped to all of the values. Now, if you analyze this output, you can see that the keys are not in the same order in which I added them to the map, right? So I put Mike first, then I put Maria, and then I put and then I put Matt, sorry. But the way it is outputted, first it's Maria, then it's Matt, and then it's Mike. Well, that's because a map doesn't have a fixed order. So the elements aren't in the order in which you put them inside of the map, and you can't alter the order of a map. You can't use functions like sort or reverse on a map. That just wouldn't work because a map has a certain fixed order that you can't change, okay? Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is that when you try to access a key that doesn't exist, that's just going to give you some random predefined value, right? So if you try to see out, for example, the key max, this key doesn't exist, and so if I run this code, this is just going to give me a random value. It doesn't mean that the key max is mapped to the value 0, it just means that max doesn't exist in my map, and so this is just going to give me a random number stored in my computer's memory. In the same way, when you try to assign a new value to a key, you're not going to be creating a new key that already exists, but with a different value, you're going to be overwriting the previous key. So if I say the key Mike is going to equal 34, well, in this case, this pair doesn't exist anymore because the key Mike isn't being mapped to the value 22 anymore. It's going to be mapped to the value 34. And so if I try to see out at the key Mike, oops, I made a typo here, Mike like this, and I run this code, this is going to give me 34. Okay, so let me illustrate this better by using the for loop. So for auto u in m, I want to see out u dot first, and then a little colon here, and then u dot second, and a backslash n like that. So if I run this code, this is going to give me Maria 24 and Mike 34, right? So this pair right here doesn't exist anymore, or rather the key Mike doesn't have the value 22 anymore. Now I'm going to show you some useful methods that you can use to better manipulate the map. So the first method is going to be the empty method. This is pretty self-explanatory. Basically what this does is it empties the map. So if I run this code right now, this for loop, oops, what did I do? Okay guys, I made a mistake here. This method doesn't actually empty the map, the map. This is going to be a different method. So the method that empties the map is not going to be empty, it's going to be clear like this. Sorry about that. So if I run this is going to give me nothing because, well, there are no elements in the map. Now, what the empty method actually does is it checks whether or not the map is empty. So it doesn't empty the map, it just checks if the map is empty or not. So if I say cout m dot empty like this, then this is going to give me a Boolean value, which is going to be 0 or 1, and it's going to say if the map is empty or not. So if I run this code, this is going to give me 0. So this is going to be false. This is checking if the map is empty or not. It is not empty. It has 2 elements, and so this is going to be false, and therefore it's going to output 0, which represents false, as you know. And now if I just delete this, and I run this code, then this is going to give me 1 because this map is now empty. So I'm sorry about that, my mistake. So the next method, which is really useful that I wanted to show you, is the size method. So the size method gives me the amount of elements that are inside of a map. In this case, I have 2 elements in my map. The next method is going to be the erase method. This is going to erase a certain key from the map. So I just have to put in here the key that I want to erase. I want to erase the key Mike, and let me uncomment this. So if I run this code, since I've erased the key Mike, that value pair no longer exists. So I'm going to get only this key value pair. So this was outputting a 1 here because I was outputting this line as well, but I didn't mean to do that. So the last thing I want to show you is the insert method. So the insert method is going to take a pair as an argument, and that pair is going to be inserted into the map. So I'm going to create a pair, which is going to be of a string and an integer, and this is going to be called P, and it's going to be, for example, max and 28, for example. And now I'm going to insert this pair P into the map. Now if I output the for loop that goes through this whole map, you can see that the key max was added in there. And instead of this, you can just go inside of here and write make pair. This is a function that takes two arguments and forms a pair with them. And you can say max and 28, like so. And this is going to be the exact same thing as what I did before. So if I run this code, this is going to give me the map with the key max mapped to the value 28. So this is all I wanted to show you in this video. I really hope this video was helpful. Maps aren't really that difficult, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.